From Elkridge, Maryland, the little city that wouldn't die no matter how hard you step on its throat, this is Blood on the Microphone with Bill Schmalfeldt. Bill's guest today, Lee Sang-young from the North Korea Ministry of Public Security, also Kentucky Senator Rand Paul. I am Walter J. Pudding Bottom IV, and here he is, the man who named his show after his horrible gingivitis, Bill Schmalfeldt. Thank you very much. You seem like a fun crowd. Looking ready to have a good time. Walter, how you doing over there, buddy? Oh, I'm doing as well as can be expected. It's been a good weekend for me. How's your life going? Well, if I'm looking a little peaked, I just got back from the my 4-month visit with my neurologist. Oh, really? How did that go? Well, you know, I've had Parkinson's for 13 years now, and we agree, my neurologist and I, that I'm doing very well, actually, for somebody who's had this disease as long as I have. And we talked about some of the various problems that come and go with Parkinson's disease and things to watch out for. For instance, you know that thing I do? What thing is that? You know, that thing where I'll write a question to, let's say, some wingnut somewhere and for a story I'm writing, and they'll tell me to piss up a rope, and I'll write back again and say, I'm not going to piss up a rope. I'm going to get an answer to this story. And they write back and say, never contact me again. And I write back and I say, I'll contact you anytime I want to. And then they file charges against me. And then I start calling them every day. And then I find out where they live, and I go to their house and I stand in front of their house and scream obscenities at them. And then I take a poop in their yard and stick a little flag in it that says, an idiot lives here. You know, that thing I do. Oh, right. I thought you were talking about something else. Nope, that's the thing I'm talking about. Guess what? That's an obsession. Oh, really? That's right. The doctor said people with Parkinson's disease are given to having certain obsessions. Some people gamble. Some people hypersexualize. I poop in people's yards. What can I say? He suggested I stop it. Well, are you going to? We'll see. But I do like this guy, this neurologist I've been seeing for, how long have I been seeing him now? Since about 2008? Yeah, since right after I had my deep brain stimulation in 2007, I started seeing this guy. Who did you see before that? Well, I don't want to mention any names, but let me tell you something. If you're seeing a neurologist, especially a movement disorder specialist, an anal exam is not part of the usual regime. I didn't know that until I started seeing my current doctor, and he explained that wouldn't be necessary for our relationship. Oh, and neither was the ball gag or the blindfold or the whipping. And any doctor you see, anytime you see a doctor and the doctor tells you to call him daddy while he's doing the finger jab, just get out. Don't even worry about your pants. Pull up your pants and just get out of there. That's the best advice I can give. Keep that in mind, Bill. Did you see that story in Friday's Mother Jones on their Political Mojo page about Rand Paul, the Kentucky senator who was accused of white-splaining to a black audience at Howard University this week? Yeah, Senator Paul is a guest on our show today, and we're certainly looking forward to that. But it seems he hasn't really learned a lesson from his Howard University speech, if there was, in fact, a lesson to be learned. He still feels he carried the Republican message to an unfriendly audience, and I understand he's going to do the same thing tomorrow when he gives a speech to La Raza about the good that Speedy Gonzalez has done for the image of Mexican mice.
You pooped? Okay, I come back.
I should say he did. And the peace and understanding, the multiculturalism of Speedy Gonzalez and everything we learned about Mexicans and the Spanish language from watching Speedy Gonzalez cartoons. This gives us native-born English speakers the right to insist that immigrants to our country from Mexico learn our language, because what child of baby boomer years did not know how to speak these Spanish phrases? Of course, you needed context. I mean, when I was a kid, I thought, like, holy frijoles? I thought frijoles was a Spanish way of saying Jesus Christ, but, hey, it's the word for beans. Who knew? No, we love Rand Paul, and we're really glad to have him on the show today, and we really, really, really hope he runs for president in 2016. Really, 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 really. Okay, so did you hear about this? A couple days ago, Jennifer LeClaire, she's the news editor of Charisma, which is the most inappropriately named news organization I've ever heard of. She's long been warning her readers about the perils of gay superheroes, laws that protect gays from violence, and yes, even demon rape, which she says makes people gay. Just think of the kids that'll have to have that talk with their mom and dad tonight. Mom, Dad, I'm gay, and it's because I was raped by a demon. At which point the dad says, yeah, I drink a lot because I was raped by a leprechaun on St. Patrick's Day. What's your point, kid? But now we've got this other American Taliban, Christo-fascist, right-wing nobody that I've never heard of until I prepared this today. His name is Gordon Klingenschmidt. Klingenschmidt. This sounds like a condition you get after eating too much candy or sweet stuff. He's also known as Dr. Chaps, which could mean either that he has chapped lips for some reason, or he likes to wear cowboy chaps and nothing else. It turns out that they call him Dr. Chaps because he was at one time a chaplain, and whether or not he's a doctor, well, that's what he used to tell the altar boys. Anyway, he's warning that if NFL players come out as gay, youth coaches are going to start recruiting children into the homosexual lifestyle.
If NFL players do come out as gay, that would only push youth coaches to open their minds to new possibilities as what should be the path for the young, tough male athlete. They ought to be homosexual.
Right. It's like back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s when scouting coaches started realizing that high schools and colleges were graduating a lot of fine African-American athletes, that the youth coaches started going into the white neighborhoods and recruiting children into the black lifestyle. It's the same thing. It works every time.
Sports is neither good nor evil.
And let me stop you right there. Let me stop before you lie any further. There is evil sports, and there is good sports, and sometimes they're in the same league. Green Bay Packers, good. Minnesota Vikings, evil. This has been proven. It's in the Bible, Dr. Chaps.
Now, picture this. 4 NFL players coming out as gay, and then this whole youth movement of coaches recruiting children into the homosexual lifestyle. And
Wait a minute. You're talking about coaches recruiting inner city kids into becoming gay?
But it can be a tool.
Because some NFL athlete may decide at some point to be who he is, and they're the tool? Do you have a mirror?
They ought to be homosexual.
My God, don't you realize what could happen? Our impression, our prejudices, our perception of young gay people as being limp-wristed sissies could go right out the window.
They ought to be homosexual.
Once we realize that the gay kids are the athletes, the tough, big, strong kids who could take us any time they wanted to, all of a sudden it's going to be a lot more dangerous to be a homophobe. And the church can't have that.
I think the devil is afoot here.
And that may be true. The devil may be afoot here. But as far as you, Dr. Chaps, I'm thinking you're a different kind of body part altogether. More of a dick. This must be one of those you got to be in the Senate things to understand it. Marco Rubio. He's a senator from Florida. He's going to be on the show tomorrow. Am I right, Walter?
Right again, Bill.
We're looking forward to having him with us, the Republican from Florida. Good-looking guy, not that I noticed that sort of thing. He was on the Fox News Sunday show talking about his plans to filibuster a bill to expand background checks to include gun shows and internet sales. And that means he would also vote against the final bipartisan legislation. Yeah, I know. But check out just the logic here. He says, well, to be fair, I haven't read it in its totality, but I can tell you this. I'm very skeptical of any plan that deals with the Second Amendment because invariably these gun laws end up impeding on the rights of people who bear arms, who are law-abiding and do nothing to keep criminals from buying them. Now, that made him thirsty. And I guess one thing I want to ask him while he's here tomorrow is, Marco, how do you know you're against the bill if you haven't read it yet? Like I said, it must be one of those Senate things. You have to be there for a while before you understand how it works. I hope we never understand it completely, Bill. You and me both, pal. Anyway, why don't you play some of that music while I wander over to my desk, huh? 1, 2, 3, 4. Feels good to sit down. So, Walter, how was your weekend?
The typical, Bill. Spent luxuriating on magnificent Pudding Bottom Island while well-muscled cabana boys oiled my sensitive skin with exotic lotions. Like I said, typical.
Yeah, I spent my weekend arguing with morons on Twitter. Did you know that I'm suicidal and I send death threats to myself?
Oh, but that's just not true.
Oh, but it is. One particularly rancid turd floating in the unflushed toilet bowl of extreme right-wing stupidity claims that a tweet I received suggested that I shut my mouth or die, including a picture of me pondering my fate with a gun to my head. I created that and sent it to myself so I could blame him for it. And that means I'm suicidal.
Is this person being medicated?
No, I don't think so. He's a lawyer.
They don't medicate lawyers, do they?
Well, not this one, it seems. He was the ringleader for the other two floating turds who filed peace orders and criminal charges against me for daring to talk about them. By the way, time for a scoreboard check. What's the tally now, Pete?
Peace order filed by W.J.J. Hogue of Westminster, Maryland. Denied. A second peace order filed by W.J.J. Hogue of Westminster, Maryland. Denied. A peace order filed by Aaron Walker of Manassas, Virginia. Denied. A criminal charge of harassment filed by Lee Stranahan of Dallas, Texas. Dismissed. A criminal charge of misuse of electronic mail by Lee Stranahan of Dallas, Texas. Dismissed. A criminal charge of harassment filed by Aaron Walker of Manassas, Virginia. Dismissed. A criminal charge of misuse of email by Aaron Walker of Manassas, Virginia. Dismissed. A criminal charge of harassment filed by W.J.J. Hogue of Westminster, Maryland. Dismissed. Another criminal charge of harassment filed by W.J.J. Hogue of Westminster, Maryland. Dismissed. A criminal charge of misuse of email filed by W.J.J. Hogue of Westminster, Maryland. Dismissed. A criminal charge of illegal access to a computer filed by W.J.J. Hogue of Westminster, Maryland. dismissed. A criminal charge of failure to comply with a peace order filed by WJJ Hogue of Westminster, Maryland, dismissed. A request for a contempt citation filed by WJJ Hogue of Westminster, Maryland, denied.
I'm beginning to sense a trend here, Bill.
So it's that obvious, is it, Walter?
Yes, the amount of butthurt being experienced by these right-wing morons over their inability to stick any of these stupid charges against you can actually be measured by satellites in space.
Well, just call me the Teflon Don of the left-wing media mafia. Nothing sticks to me, see? Nothing. Hey, have you been following the latest on how Christian conservatives are being victimized?
I'm not sure.
Well, then, let me educate you, my friend, with our new segment. The latest is this ongoing case against a Pennsylvania butcher named Kermit Gosnell. I won't insult other doctors by using that title with his name. Since 2011, the media has been reporting on this idiot and his charnel house of an abortion clinic in Philadelphia. A January 2011 report by the online Reproductive Health Reality Check wrote, quote, regarding the grand jury report on Women's Medical Society of Philadelphia, the now closed abortion clinic run by Dr. Kermit Gosnell is stomach-turning. This was truly a chamber of horrors, a filthy facility with blood-stained blankets and furniture, unsterilized instruments, and cat feces left unattended. Well, yeah, gotta attend the cat feces at least, am I right? In January 2011, the Griot, that's the NBC website devoted to African American news and issues, wrote this about Gosnell, and I warn you, this is some pretty grim stuff. Many of us have heard the grisly story by NBC Philadelphia of an African American physician in West Philadelphia who's facing 8 counts of murder for his role in the deaths of a woman and 7 babies. Dr. Kermit Gosnell, 69, operated the Women's Medical Society for over 30 years, where, along with a staff of untrained personnel, he performed abortions beyond the legal limit of 24 weeks in a decrepit and unsanitary clinic. Gosnell and his staff were also accused of murdering babies who were born alive by cutting their spinal cords with scissors. Yeah, not exactly dinner table conversation. Anyway, to keep it brief here, the point we're making is this story has received more than its fair share of coverage. It's been covered by such conservative bellwethers as NPR, The Nation magazine, and how do you get more liberal than that? CBS News has covered it, NBC News has covered it. It's been covered all over the media. So, with reports running the gamut of left-wing news organizations, how are the right-wing Christians being victimized, traumatized, and brutalized by a callous liberal media that hates God this time?
The liberal media has ignored the Gosnell abortion butcher shop story.
Yes, gentle listeners, it seems as if our brothers and sisters on the right wing will be satisfied with nothing less than wall-to-wall, 24/7 coverage of the Gosnell murder trial. Not that they want justice against Dr. Gosnell, not particularly because they want justice for the woman who died and the babies who died. It's because they're anti-abortion and want to shut down abortion everywhere.
Well, Bill, if the murder trial is underway, why isn't the media covering it?
Because, Walter, it's the media. We're basically talking about the 24/7 cable news channels here. Do they cover news on these channels? Of course not. Is that their job to cover news? Of course not. Is it a liberal bias that keeps them from covering news? Of course not. It's a business decision. the business of the 24/7 cable news channels, except for Fox News, which stopped covering actual news the day Bush sent the first troops into Iraq. The job of 24/7 cable news channels is to keep butts in the recliners and eyeballs on the screen. Let's go to a typical editorial meeting at MSCNN and see how they decide what's news and what is not.
Okay, we've got North Korea threatening to launch a missile that nobody with any brains believes can possibly carry a nuclear weapon. Run it. Ratchet up the scare factor. Make people think they might have found a way to miniaturize the weapon and perhaps have a missile that could reach, say, Austin, Texas. Scared viewers are loyal viewers.
Okay, we'll go with the North Korea story. Now, do we have anything new on the poop boat?
No, most people got off that thing safe and are living their lives as if nothing happened.
Well, drag it out anyway. People love a good poop boat story. Run it in non-mealtime hours. Anything new on Jodi Arias?
Oh, that's the chick who's on trial for 3 months now for allegedly stabbing her boyfriend 30 times and slashing his throat the day after having her pictures taken with him naked?
Yeah, that's the one.
Right, yeah, they lost another juror.
Good. Lead the hour with it.
Gotcha.
Hey, how about this Gosnell story?
God, no. All that talk about cat poop and decapitated babies and women left to bleed to death by some maniac. No. We will not maintain a profit margin if we turn off our viewers with monstrous stories like
Well,
that.
I just bring it up because right-wingers are saying that the story isn't getting any coverage.
Right-wingers watch MSCNN.
No,
Do they contribute to the bottom line?
I guess not.
Do we care what they think?
I suppose not.
Right. Now, if you can find me a nice story that will appeal to right-wingers, like, for instance, Gabby Giffords retraining herself to fire a weapon like the one that nearly killed her while her hubby stands by watching approvingly, you can appeal to the anti-gun control nuts with that. But, beheaded babies? That's just it. People will be grabbing for their remotes, spraining their shoulders, trying to get the channel changed as quick as they can to something covering Kate Goslin or something. No beheaded babies. That's our rule here. No beheaded babies.
And that, my friends, is how the 24/7 cable news industry, except for Fox News, of course, which stopped being a news organization when they decided that Saddam Hussein was responsible for 9/11. That's how they decide what's news. It's not a liberal bias. It's not a conservative bias. It's not a blue thing. It's not a red thing. It's a green thing. When we come back, Lee Sang-young of the North Korea Ministry of Security joins us. Stay tuned. Blood on the microphone will continue after this brief pause while I go urinate. What happens when a family of midgets lives in a rundown house filled with junk?
We gotta stop living like this.
When the health department came to inspect the house, they couldn't even get the door open.
They had boxes full of rotting pizza stacked up against the door.
Look, I still have old used Pampers from when I was a baby, and I'm 35 years old. This room we're standing in, full of old dirty Pampers. Don't cut yourself on anything, it's a death sentence.
There are little people living in a great big mess.
Even the cats won't come in anymore.
Little people, big hoarders. Tonight at 10, 9 Central on the Learning Channel.
Hello?
Yes, have I reached Erica Lafferty?
Yes, you have. May I ask who's calling?
Please hold for Senator Ted Cruz.
Honey, we got a call from Senator Ted Cruz. Isn't he that weirdo from Texas?
Well, let's hear what he has to say.
Well, hello there, Mrs. Lafferty. This is Senator Ted Cruz from Texas, and I just wanted to say that I read your tweet asking senators to just have an up and down vote about gun control, and not filibuster in an effort to block legislation.
Yes, I believe I did tweet that, Senator Cruz.
Well, first of all, I want to offer condolences for your loss, because losing a loved one in a situation, especially like you did, it's an unspeakable tragedy.
Well, thank you, Senator Cruz, and I only want to say...
Now, you just wait till I'm done talking, young lady, then you can say whatever you want. All right?
Okay.
I just think that losing a loved one the way you did is a horrible, unspeakable tragedy, but that does not become an excuse for losing your sense of civility and displaying proper ladylike manners.
What do you mean, ladylike manners?
Well, don't you think that was a bit of a cheap shot, young lady, sending me a picture of your sister and your mother at your sister's wedding, and then saying, "I'm not going to have this at my wedding, Senator Cruz," as if it was my fault your mother had holes blowed in her and not that young man that did the shooting.
Well,
Right. Like you have nothing to say now? You got nothing to say to old Senator Cruz? It's one thing to just tweet him pictures of your mother and blame him for your mother's death and saying that I'm the reason that she's not going to be at your wedding?
Senator Cruz, I sent that same tweet to the 15 senators who have said that they're going to filibuster to keep any reasonable and sensible gun control from passing.
See, that's probably a problem right there, you northeastern liberals. You don't understand that a lady is supposed to remain demure, and when talking to a male, especially a male senator, you're supposed to remember your place as a woman.
What the are you talking about?
And there you go, using profanity like some sort of gutter slattern in a prostitute. Would your mama be proud of you using that kind of language, young lady?
My mother was murdered by a madman with access to an assault rifle.
Well, then, heaven be praised and God be thanked that she's not here to hear you talking with language like that. And secondly, you talk about sensible gun control. Young lady, there's no such thing as sensible gun control. There's no such thing as anything sensible that infringes on a constitutional right. You understand the Constitution?
I understand one thing, Senator Cruz. I understand that I'm done talking to you, you screaming asshole.
Well, there you go. Some people just do not know how to have a civil conversation. It's a sad thing. It's a sad, sad thing.
We'll go back to the show, and we're joined now by Mr. Lee Sang-yong from the North Korea Ministry of Public Security, who happens to be in the Baltimore area today as part of a UN delegation, trade delegation. And Mr. Young, welcome, first of all, to the United States, and welcome to our Elkridge, Maryland studios.
Yes, it is my honor to be here.
Now, you come with a message from your leader, Kim Jong-un, in which you tell us that we have nothing to worry about.
Yes, that is very correct. You have nothing to worry about from the peaceful people of the Democratic Republic of Korea.
If we have nothing to worry about, why are you pointing missiles at us?
That is misconception. We are not pointing missiles at you. We have missiles ready to launch for entire self-protection purpose.
That's not the message we're getting, though. The message we're getting from North Korean media and images from North Korea are that you intend to destroy all your enemies, and you list us as one of your top enemies.
Oh, pay no attention to that. That is merely rhetoric we use in Democratic People's Republic of Korea to frighten the children into going to sleep at night.
You have to frighten your children into going to sleep.
Yes, otherwise they're so hungry they stay awake. You understand?
Yeah, okay. Tell me, this Kim Jong-un, he's your new leader there, right?
That is correct.
And he's the son of the previous leader, Kim Jong-il.
Yes.
And the grandson of the founder of the North Korean Republic, Kim Il-sung.
Yes, that is correct. Your history is accurate.
What is this Kim Jong-un like in person?
Oh, I know him very well. He and I go to high school together, where he one chick magnet, let me tell you. No, it's true. I hear you laughing, and in the People's Republic of Korea, you could be shot for this impertinence, but it is true. He always have a girl, and sometimes the girl, her former boyfriend, he was so embarrassed to lose a girl to Kim Jong-un that nobody ever saw him again. His most interesting fact of...
Yeah, I would guess that would be interesting if Kim Jong, the son of the great leader, wanted your girl and all of a sudden you disappeared and nobody ever saw you again.
We conjecture that many of them emigrated to China.
That'll work. So in person, what is he like? Is he a mean guy? Is he a happy guy? Is he
a more jovial, jocular person you never find than the respected venerable leader Kim Jong-un. He's always playing with the children, tickling them in inappropriate places and making them sit on his laps until they cry in happiness.
Sounds like fun. All right then. You just keep propelling that propaganda there, guy, and one of these days someone will believe it.
You may call it propaganda, Mr. Schmalfeldt, but we call it truth.
All righty, and you brought an example of some of that truth with you today, if I understand correctly.
Yes, this is a video we show on North Korea television last week.
Yeah, whenever the power is on, anyway.
Why you got to go there? At the time when America was ramping up tensions against the peaceful Democratic Republic of Korea, we to show our peaceful intent and how we're not aggressive toward anything in the South or their puppet leaders in America.
Now, this is in Korean, I understand.
Well, of course it is in Korean. What you expect it to be in Spanish? We're Korean.
That's a good one.
Is what a good one?
The little joke you just made about... never mind. You're going to translate the video for us, I'm right?
Yes, I am going to play the video. And can your audience see the video?
Well, the studio audience can, but since we're a radio program, no, we'll just have to kind of describe what's going on.
Okay, we can do that.
Now, before we get started, what's the purpose of this video?
Yes, this video was shot shortly after Kim Jong-un was named Supreme Commander of the military forces to show our unification in accepting him as great leader and is not meant as threat to anyone.
Ah, okay. Well, we'll be able to see... It looks like it's beginning with a nice, pretty sunrise.
Yes, now shut up so I can translate Korean words.
Alrighty. It's my show,
now,
but you want to be bossy.
On the screen, it says, we are Koreans, we dig Kim Jong-un. There's a communist flag with a star on it flapping in the wind, and they sing, we like flags that have stars on them.
Well, who the hell doesn't?
They sing, they look very cool when waving in the breeze. Yes, we await the orders of the Comrade General at which time we will extend our middle fingers. Mandatory re-enlistment is an honor because we love standing in groups of men with guns.
With their hands upraised and their fists clenched like they're...
Our middle fingers remain furled as we await the orders of the Comrade General.
Yeah, you look like you're ready to flip a bird at any moment there.
In the meantime, we wave our flags and guns in a threatening manner.
Well, that certainly is threatening. I mean, quite threatening.
In the DPRK, there are no homosexuals, not even in our naval services.
But did anybody suggest there were?
And if we had homosexuals in our naval services, they would also await the order of the Comrade General before extending their middle fingers. It is not homosexual for a man to love the great leader and his worthy successor, Kim Jong-un.
Is that a normal thing to stand there with your fist clenched?
In the meantime, we wave our flags and thrust our guns at you in a threatening manner.
Don't your hands get tired from all the clenching all the time?
And now you see the soldiers shaking their fists as they move these missiles into place, and they pretend to shoot and kill enemies, which in this case, I assure you, is not Americans or anybody that you care about.
Angolans probably, huh? Yeah.
Nighttime fighting is our favorite.
It's been I've always enjoyed that myself.
Our guns are big and sleek. We shove them in your face.
I'm noticing a trend toward homoeroticism here. Am I right?
Masturbate, show them all how. We do it until we are sore.
And now we get to it.
Your right fist is your lover. Dedicate your climax to the glory of the Comrade General Kim Jong-un. As we fly our manly planes and shoot our manly guns.
It explains all the pumping of the fists I'm seeing in this video.
Let each ejaculation be a blast in the face of the imperialist enemy.
And then you show a flamethrower. The imagery is just perfect. I mean, yes, our hot, fiery ejaculations in your face.
The world will learn to bow to our national symbol of socialist love, the hammer, the sickle, the dildo.
You see, I was going to guess that's a missile, not a dildo, but you say it's a dildo. It's very interesting. Thank you. Well, certainly seems like a peaceful message to me. Thank you for dropping by, sharing it with us.
Yes, and death to the American imperialist running dogs.
Well, sooner or later, I suppose, but thanks for the good thought. Well, Mr. Lee Sang-yong, a member of the Ministry of Public Security from the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. That is the northern, less charming side of Korea, where starvation is the leading cause of death. We'll be back with more Blood on the Microphone right after this, hopefully with something a little more cheerful. We'll be back with more Blood on the Microphone in just a moment. First, we must go feed the parakeets. What happens when the head of a hillbilly family murders his fat little daughter and then hides her body in a storage bin?
I swear to God, we could hear her in there laughing at us as we looked through the junk.
These storage warriors are getting more than they bargained for.
I got home that night and all I wanted to do was drink Red Bull and Mountain Dew. And I hate Red Bull and Mountain Dew.
There's nothing but crap in here and it smells horrible.
Do you hear that?
Oh my God!
Storage War Ghost Finders. Tonight at 10, 9 Central on the Learning Channel. Adopted by wealthy folks in West L.A. Set out to smear the left, he thought he'd lead the way. Learned how to smear liberal folks on TV. Dropped dead in Brentwood when he was 43. Andy Breitbart, God, what a piece of work. Party like a college boy his whole career. Said all the things the right wing likes to hear. Faithful errand boy to Foster Freeze. Some folks say he did his best work on his knees. Andy Breitbart, sad little rich boy jerk. surrounded himself with some future stars like Brandon Darby and Ali Akbar. Darby was a rat for the FBI. Akbar had a talent for telling a lie. Andy Breitbart put right-wing tools to work. Sent stupid James O'Keefe to get some tape. Stood by his friend after his attempted rape. Ruined a career at the USDA. Didn't live long enough the damages to pay. Andy Breitbart, we miss your obnoxious smirk. Drunk as a monkey at his last CPAC. Stop raping people was his last attack. Loaded his company with right-wing nuts. Left it to be run by total idiots. Andy Breitbart, mired in the moral murk. With no more Andy there to lead the troops, Joel Pollack led the crew with stupid scoops. With morons like Stranahan and Liberty Chick, the website lost readers and lost them real quick. Andy Breitbart, your legacy's gone berserk. Welcome back to the show, and please join me in welcoming the senator from Kentucky, Senator Rand Paul. Senator Paul, come on in.
Pleased to meet you, sir. And it's been a kind of interesting week for you, wouldn't you say? Well, yes, Bill, I'd say it was a learning experience. I mean, you got to know your audience, you know, when you go and talk to people, and I could have been better prepared. Well, that's kind of like the captain of the Titanic saying he could have maybe done a better job of steering around that iceberg. But neither here nor there. Do you think that you carried the Republican message successfully to this group of students at Howard University, this historically black university in Washington, D.C.? Well, some people asked if I was nervous about speaking at Howard. They say, you know, some of the students and faculty may be Democrats. Yeah, they didn't think it was funny either. Well, anyway, I felt the least I should do is try to educate these people about Democrats and Republicans and how it has traditionally been Republicans who have been on the side of those people. And it was my job to give my ideas and share my thoughts with them, and I think I managed to get through.
Well, you hit all the Fox News points. Lincoln freed the slaves. Democrats were the party of Jim Crow. So, therefore, black people should vote Republican.
Well, I don't think I quite put it like that.
Were you at all taken aback at the way the crowd laughed at you?
Oh, no, I'm used to that. I've had audiences laugh with me before. I'm known as being quite the jokester.
So you don't feel you were condescending at all?
Why, no. That would imply that I somehow am better than those people were. And I didn't say that.
Well, you kind of didn't have to come out and say it, Senator Paul. In fact, we've got a snippet of your speech at Howard University right here that the boys threw together. Go ahead and roll that tape.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming today. You know, it is our policy at Howard University to hear from political viewpoints all across the political spectrum, even on occasions those that we might not find ourselves readily in agreement with. It is with that spirit in mind today that we ask you to sit politely and welcome Kentucky Senator Rand Paul. Senator Paul, welcome to Howard University.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Yo, homies, what up? Say, my neighbors. What? Oh, that's right. You're only allowed to call each other that. Okay. You have to understand, I'm from Kentucky, and most of the black folks we deal with there on a daily basis are serving breakfast. Anyway, I'm grateful for the opportunity to come and speak to you today, and I appreciate the fact that so many of you are not walking out right now, although many of you are. I just wanted to start out by asking a question. Raise your hand if you knew that Democrats were the ones who passed the Jim Crow laws in the South, and that Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. Huh? Did you know that? Huh? So were the first black legislators and founders of the NAACP. Would everyone here know that they were Republicans? Well, there's a guy who knows. And one of the first popularly elected Negro, black senator, Afro-American senator, was a Republican. Edwin Brooke of Massachusetts.
Edward, you idiot!
That's right, Edward Brooke of Massachusetts. Now, I understand that I'm probably not the most obvious choice for the Republicans to use as a spearhead. Get it? Spears and to outreach to African Americans. Matter of fact, my first foray into the national spotlight came back in 2010 when I criticized the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Not because I don't think you should be equal to us, but because I thought it encroached on property rights, and I thought ending segregation should have been left to a free market. I mean, eventually, you left to a free market, eventually you all would have been freed anyway, right? Am I right? Who's with me here? Anyway, here I am, a guy who once presumed to discuss a section of the Civil Rights Act. No, I've never wavered in my support for civil rights or the Civil Rights Act, although I am on record as having criticized it. I'm not on record as actually having opposed it. Now, the dispute, if there is one, has always been how much of the remedy should come under federal or state or private purview, you see. You understand, right? I was just concerned about the nice throw. I was just concerned about the ramifications of certain portions of the Civil Rights Act that go beyond race. Like, you know, forcing businesses to have to hire people that they might not want to hire because of skin tone or the texture of your hair or the funny way some of you smell. You know, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. You know, it's like I told Rachel Maddow. You know, she's a lesbian. Does that everybody here know that? So again, you know, I'll talk to anybody about anything. What I told her was, when it gets into this, is you decide that restaurants are publicly owned and not privately owned. Do you say, do you say you should have the right to bring your gun into a restaurant even though the owner of the restaurant says, well, no, we don't want to have guns in here? And the bar says, we don't want guns in here because people might start drinking and fighting and shooting each other. And does the owner own the restaurant or does the government own the restaurant? And it's the same thing with colored people. I can see I'm not breaking through to you. Maybe if I talk a little slower. Hello? I see that banner in the back of the room there. Howard University doesn't support white supremacy. Neither do I. I think blacks are. I think Afro-Americans are just as supreme as anybody else. I mean, in an Oreo cookie, you got two dark sections for that white section in the middle. And you can't have an Oreo cookie without the black part and the white part. It just goes together so well. So anyway, raise your hand if you've ever smoked crack cocaine. Oh, come on now. This is a group of Afro-Americans. Certainly more of you must have. Well, look at the time. Look, I seem to have overstayed my. Look, I don't want to be associated with racists. I mean, should we limit racists from speaking? I don't want to be associated with those people, but I don't want to limit their speech in any way in the sense that, you know, we tolerate boorish and uncivilized behavior because that's one of the things that freedom requires is that we allow people to be boorish and uncivilized, but that doesn't mean we approve of it. Which is why we've put up with so much from minorities over the years, right? Am I right? Am I right? Look. Try to see it from my point of view. Just, could you, for just a, would you stop yelling? Would you just stop yelling for a minute? Dad, they're yelling, Dad!
God, I wish I could still legally whip you people. I wish I could still legally put you in chains. I wish I could still...
Now, I think you had microphones placed in the audience because I could not hear all that noise from where I was. And I don't recall the audience being quite as hostile as you make them out to be, Mr. Schmalfeldt.
Well, Mother Jones, in an article last Friday, summed it up, I thought, pretty fairly when they said that you weren't being unfairly mocked for your positions on America's various wars against abstract concepts. You were justifiably mocked for dishonesty, for condescending to your audience. I think Jon Stewart said it best when he said that you can't yada yada your way around things you've said in the past about your opposition to the Civil Rights Act.
Now, I explained, you heard it on that tape just there. I explained my opposition, which wasn't really opposition as much as it was support, but for something other than what the Civil Rights Act tried to do.
I think if the Republican Party is going to survive as a party, the official Republican, and I'm borrowing this from the Mother Jones article just from memory, the official Republican history of race in America should not ignore the fact that you guys, Republicans, abandoned black people after Reconstruction in the name of reconciliation between the North and the South.
Well, that's an unfair assessment. I wasn't even alive during Reconstruction.
You should not gloss over the fact that after 1964, when the Civil Rights Act was passed, your party embraced the politics of white racial resentment, and that the party that was once the party of Jim Crow now gets upwards of 90% of the black vote. That is not an indictment of the Democratic Party, Senator Paul. That is an indictment of the Republican Party.
Well, that might be one way to look at it, but I think you at least have to give me credit for reaching out and trying.
Why should somebody give you credit for that? You're a white politician. You're a Republican who's trying to get a bigger share of the minority vote. And here you are, again, using the Mother Jones analogy, acting like you went to a Greyhound bus station at midnight. Howard University is not a Greyhound bus station at midnight, and it's way past time for folks in the media to retire the notion that white politicians deserve extra credit for being willing to talk to a room full of black people. I believe it was a Republican who put it that's called the soft bigotry of low expectations, Senator Paul. And I do hope, as a person who believes in the two-party system, I do hope, sir, that sometime between now and whenever, the Republican Party realizes that it has to embrace everyone. Or you're going to just die off. There aren't enough white racists in existence to keep getting you guys reelected. And I don't mean to lecture you, sir, but the only way Republicans are going to rebuild their party is to ignore the loud, crazy base and reach out to voters. Not the other way around. Voters should not have to reach out to you. And I think you do better than a lot of other Republicans, if I can just say so, with your positions on the war on drugs, which has been a vast waste of money. You've been much more progressive than even a lot of Democrats. But I do hope you've learned something. And, of course, I was only kidding about the whole Speedy Gonzalez thing.
Yeah, what? By the way, what is a frijoles? Is that like a taco or something?
Ladies and gentlemen, Senator Rand Paul. Thanks for being with us tonight, sir.
My pleasure, Bill. My pleasure.
Sit tight. We'll be right back. This is that part of the show where we fool you into thinking there's much more to come when there's really not. Blood on the microphone continues in a bit. It's an obsession nobody talks about.
It's like they're little and big at the same time, and they're just so cute.
Some say it's a crazy obsession.
There's just something about the way they smell.
But is it illegal? Is it immoral?
The judge says it's okay to look, but not to touch.
But some let their crazy obsession ruin their lives.
Come here, you fat little cutie. Get in the basket. Get in the basket.
My crazy obsession with big fat American gypsy toddlers with tiaras. Tonight at 10, 9 Central on the Learning Channel.
Hi there, friends and neighbors. This here's Lee Strangamahan at Lee Strangamahan's Purloin Pussy Palace. And let's clear up that confusion right now. There's this right-wing blogger what lives in Dallas who claims that he is me. Well, I am not him. My name is spelled Leigh-Strangamahan. Lee Strangamahan. So let's clear up that confusion right now. I'm running Lee Strangamahan's Purloin Pussy Palace, and now that I'm out of jail, we're open for business again. And not only do we still have little Huggy running around pooping on everything, we got us a new girl working for us. That's right. Ever since my wife broke down and she ain't purty no more, we went out and found ourselves some new quality talent. I'd like you to meet Candy Mandy, the Liberty Chunk. That's what we call her.
Hi, boys. I'm Candy Mandy, and I got something for you that's good eating. You betcha.
That's right, Candy Mandy. But you ain't one of the purloin pussies what we got here, because all we got is pictures of pussy. No, little hoggy, we don't got no piggy pussy. How many times I gotta tell you that? All we got is pussy, old pussy, young pussy, hairy pussy, bald pussy, pictures and pictures of pussy. I mean, I'm saying all we got is pussy. We got it all right here at Lee Strangaman's Purloin Pussy Palace in Dallas.
Welcome back, Walter. What do you think? Things went pretty well?
It couldn't have gone better if we had practiced this show for hours and hours and hours, Bill.
Oh, you're going to be a good little toady to have around, Walter. Well, what do you think? Do it again tomorrow?
Why not?
Excellent idea. Marco Rubio's with us tomorrow. Want to thank that Korean guy, the North Korean guy. Don't bomb us, all right? And Rand Paul for being a good sport. I'm Bill Schmalfeldt. This is Blood on the Microphone. And as my sainted grandmother used to say as I sat at her knee looking for wisdom, don't take any corduroy condoms. See you tomorrow.
Blood on the Microphone with Bill Schmalfeldt was performed live before a recorded audience. You can tweet Bill on Twitter at Blood on the Mic. That's at BLOODONTHEMIKE. And visit his Facebook page at facebook.com/BloodyMike. That's BLOODYMIC. Don't get confused. Blood on the Microphone is a copyrighted presentation of Bill Schmalfeldt and Team Kimberlin Productions. All rights reserved. Celebrity voices, including mine, are impersonated unless otherwise stated. I'm your announcer, Walter J. Puddingbottom IV, saying good night and good night